Last call? Good. All right. So those were lots of fun announcements this time. All right. Without further ado, we are going to welcome up President Clifton Harris with the Urban League, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear about all the amazing things that they do and the programs they offer. So big round of applause.
Thank you so much. My name is stated, I'm Clifton Harris. I'm the President and CEO of the Urban League of Middle Tennessee, and I am not running for any office. Move the podium, okay. All right, can everybody see that? Okay. So, I've had the pleasure of being at the helm of the Urban League for the last 10 years, and I don't know how much you know about the Urban League. So I like to explain it this way. Let me see a hand of the number of people that know, I've heard about the NAACP. Okay. So the NAACP went the social justice route, and the Urban League went the economic development route. So we've been around for 116 years. We have 93 affiliates across the country. The Urban League of Middle Tennessee, we are celebrating this year on April the 15th, which I'll remind you that that is the only day now that the Urban League is a nonprofit, and that is tax day, because if it ain't making money, it ain't making sense. And so we will celebrate 58 years of service to the Middle Tennessee community, and today, the next slide, I want to just briefly share with you a little bit about our mission, our core tenets, our profile, our goals, our impact, the State of Black Middle Tennessee report that we released last year, and some recommendations that we are accomplishing from the report. So our mission is to assist African Americans and other underserved communities to achieve their highest true social parity, economic self-reliance, power, and civil rights. The Urban League promotes economic empowerment through education, job training, housing and community development, workforce development, entrepreneurship, health, and quality of life issues. Our core tenets is in education, where we believe every Middle Tennessean child deserves to be prepared for post-secondary success. Workforce development, where we believe every Middle Tennessean deserves access to a livable wage job. Housing and community development, wherever every Middle Tennessean deserves to live in safe, decent, affordable housing and efficient housing. And health and quality of life, where we believe that everyone should have access to affordable health care. And finally, core civic engagement and community engagement, where everyone deserves to feel empowered and to engage in their civil duties. Our profile, we serve 9 counties. These are the counties that we serve. We serve Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Montgomery, Rutherford, Robertson, Sumner, Williamson, and Wilson. And here lately, this next month, I've been asked to come down to Murray County to explore us having a satellite office in Murray County as well. Our goals are simple. Our goals are about empowering underserved communities through access to workforce, jobs, housing, and entrepreneurship. We elevate and expose youth to career opportunities and leadership opportunities so that they can not only succeed locally but globally. We promote community wellness and access to affordable health care. Our goal also is to empower developers of color with the opportunity to create business growth. Encourage people to take an active role in improving the quality of life through proactive participation and increased financial empowerment. And in the calendar year of 2025, we served over 10,000 people. The impact, this is pretty much, the heart and soul of who we are and what we do. In the past year alone, we've supported more than 10,000 people through workforce, education, reentry, and housing services. We have put a total investment back out into the community of over $15 million. We served 8,000 people last year with workforce development and got people 1,800 people access to livable wage jobs, because we believe that if a person has a livable wage job and not a living wage job, they can solve their housing problems, their transportation problems, their daycare problems, and their healthcare problems. Amen?
Amen.
All right, okay. Everybody wants a livable wage, you know. And so we have also served over 2,000 community members with our reentry program for those that are coming out of prison. And we've expunged over 2,000 records, you know, for some 600 plus individuals, giving them a new fresh start. And we have served over 600 youth with employment opportunities and internships. How many, I guess, for the most part, everybody out here runs a business, right? So did you know that the Urban League will pay you $16 an hour to hire someone between the ages of 14 to 24? You pay the payroll taxes and the workers' comp, and we'll put the first $16 an hour on the table for you. And they can work up to 150 hours. And at the end of that 150 hours, you get to either hire them or cut them loose and rotate someone else in. How many of you heard this saying? If our kids can see it, they can be it. Anyone? Well, guess what? Somebody's got to show it to them, right? And so we show it to them by working with businesses across the state of Tennessee to make sure that that happens. We also, through our group violence intervention program and working with the police department and with the health department, we've saved the city $1.4 million in revenue. And by helping 81 individuals that we've been working with for the past year. And when we touched them, they were frequently doing criminal activities, and since we've touched them in the past year, they've had no criminal activity, which means the police are not having to hunt them down, right? And lock them up. The jails are not having to house them. The jails are not having to feed them, provide health care for them, or provide room and board. The hospitals are not having to provide services for them, and the court system is not having to tie up dockets and all with cases. And so as a result, that equates to over $1.4 million that we've saved the system that can go to other types of resources. And then in our Real Estate Developers Academy, we've trained 22 real estate developers of color, and they now have $450 million worth of real estate development going on in Davidson County that will produce over 1,400 units of affordable housing that will go all the way down to 30% of area median income. And we're just getting started with that program. So the equality indexes, we look at it as a pie chart, if you will. How many of you would go to your local grocery store and buy a pie that has 30% of the pie missing and pay full price for it? Nobody, right? So that's the way we think of the equality index when we look at the disparities in the system here in Middle Tennessee. So in the area of economics, we found, next slide. Yeah, in the area of economics, we found that 50% of Black residents live below the poverty line. Nashville has the highest poverty rate amongst its peer cities. Over half of the employed residents earn less than a living wage. Black Middle Tennesseans experience 36% less economic well-being than their white counterparts, Tennesseans. And so for every $100 of wealth held by white households, Black households hold less than $20. And so to close the economic wealth gap, we must expand access to high livable wage jobs, and we are getting people jobs now in advanced manufacturing, IT, healthcare, business services, hospitality, and energy. And so we're excited about our track record, and we're following through on the recommendations in order to get people access to livable wage jobs. Next slide. In the area of education, the report, we found that Middle Tennesseans, the Education Equality Index indicates that Black students in our region experience outcomes that are 32% below those of the white counterparts. And so what we found here is that the cost of unfair treatment of Black students in our school system, K through 12, is costing us as taxpayers roughly around $1.6 million a year. And so we want to close these gaps, and we're recommending the following things: improve teacher quality representation, ensure quality school funding and resources, reduce implicit and explicit biases and discriminating discipline practices, expand access to advanced learning and supports and student support, and strengthen early learning and family engagement. Next slide. In healthcare, the Middle Tennesseans, what we found is that the Health Equality Index indicated that Black Tennesseans experienced health outcomes of 24% lower than those of their white counterparts. Black Middle Tennesseans experience disproportionately higher rates of death, physical and mental illnesses, and life expectancy rates with insufficient and lower access to quality health care, and more complications in pregnancy, and higher rates of obesity. According to the data that we found from the CDC, the Census Bureau, Black are in Middle Tennessee 30% less likely to have access to private health care insurance, despite a large percentage of those who are working. 150% more likely to be impacted by medical-related policies. And so we're advocating for promoting healthier eating and physical activities through community-based programs and partnership with schools, work with churches and community groups to promote health screenings and wellness programs, organize regular events to provide free or low-cost health screenings, and connect people to local health care resources. And this will reinforce the importance of healthcare access, particularly in communities that are disadvantaged. In the area of civic engagement, we found that Middle Tennesseans, white residents enjoy 10% more civic engagement than Black residents. 20% of Black Tennesseans cannot now vote due to past convictions and restrictions that undermine their ability to regain their voting privileges. And so our recommendations is that we increase voter awareness and outreach outside of Davidson County, and host workshops on the basics of civil duty or civic duty, including voting, public advocacy, and understanding government structures that teach how civic action affects policies and communities. And then finally, the report, in the area of social justice, we found that Black Middle Tennesseans experience social justice inequality at a rate of 55% compared to their white counterparts. Tennessee has some of the highest racial disparities in incarceration and in the United States. And in 2023, Black Tennesseans made up 17% of the population, yet represented about 47% of those incarcerated. And so some of the recommendations and the things that we are doing to close the disparity gaps in this area is expand our expungement clinics and other legal resources to help individuals with criminal records, remove barriers to employment and housing in other communities with area services as well. And to develop one of 3 anchor partnerships with law enforcement and the judicial agencies within the regions. And finally, some of our recommendations. The State of Black Middle Tennessee report called for strategic intervention to address these inequalities and promote economic empowerment for Black Middle Tennesseans by the following: workforce development and financial literacy programs, entrepreneurship support for minority businesses, business owners, policy advocacy regarding affordable housing, equitable wages, employment opportunities, and lending. In other words, addressing racial inequities that is critical for economic stability and prosperity for Middle Tennessee. I'm in so many meetings where people talk about the growth of Nashville and the prosperity, and I always have to ask the question, for who? Because there are so many people that have been left behind. And so these are just a few of the things that we do and the impact that we're having. We'll do another State of Black Middle Tennessee report in 2027, but this time we will band with our colleagues in the Urban League in Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Memphis, and do a State of Black Tennessee report, so that we can see how we are faring and how things are progressing in the great state of Tennessee. So I want to thank you, for the opportunity to be here today to just kind of highlight some of these things. And I'll pause now and take any questions that you might have for me, or answer any of the things that you might be concerned about that you saw on the screen. And then there was light. So, so thank you. Any questions? Yes, Viv.
You mentioned paying living wage and livable wage.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that people should be paid competitively. I do that in my office. I think that's the only way people can live here in Nashville, Tennessee, pay them a competitive wage. So what's the difference? So I have living wage. I know what that is.
So a livable wage is when a
Livable.
person can not only pay all of their bills and have discretionary income, but they have no money that they can also save.
So how do you know that when someone you're hiring? I mean, I know that our entry level.
We know that it costs $80,000 a year to live comfortably here in Nashville. And ladies and gentlemen, that is not $15 an hour. That is more like $41 an hour. So that's why we are working with people to upskill and reskill people and get people to livable wage jobs in IT, healthcare, those high-paying jobs that is going to pay people those kind of wages, so that they can have a livable wage.
Okay, so the first time in Davidson County history, the mayor formerly, John Cooper, increased to, and along with the council, that's how it was, he's doing it wrong, but increased to living wage, which was at that time, I think, $21 an hour. So would you say that difference is still?
There's still a big gap there, and so we're trying to get people upskilled and reskilled so that we can close that gap, right? And get people into training that will allow them to earn those livable wage scales. Any more questions? Next question. Yes.
I just had a question. Has there been any, decrease in the from 2025, going back up, from 2025 to 2026? Has there been any positive changes when it comes to discrepancy in?
Oh yes, we're definitely making progress, and that's why we're going to do this report every 3 years. The National Urban League does the State of Black America report, every other year, and we're seeing progress made on a national level as well. And so that's the whole purpose of doing the equality index, so that we can see how the races are progressing, right? So yeah, the answer to your question is that we're seeing progress, not as fast as we want to see it, but we are seeing progress.
I have a question. So as the former director for Nashville State Community College, Madison campus, Could you talk about the relationship that the Urban League has with Nashville State? A lot of our individuals here live in the
Absolutely.
area, and I think they're not aware of that wonderful opportunity that's been afforded to not only the residents of Madison, but of Tennessee and Nashville in general.
Yeah, so we have a partnership with Nashville State Community College, thanks to Dr. Jackson. So we get people upskilled and reskilled, and we do all of the soft skills training, what have you, and then we refer them to Nashville State to enter into secondary education programs, which now allows them to get access to those higher paying jobs. And then some of them we work with as early as in high school, and they get the dual credits, right? And they're able to go, and do that. I tell all the kids that I come in contact with now, you need to go to school. If it's only for 2 years, you need to go to school, right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you right now, most of our children does not know what workforce looks like. They don't know. They don't have a clue. But they can tell you how to get to the NBA. They can tell you how to get to Major League Baseball. They can tell you how to get to the NFL. They can now tell you how to get to soccer, but they can't tell you how to get to the boardroom. They can't tell you how to become a judge. They can't tell you how to become a property assessor. They can't tell you those things. And that's why we believe that through our Tennessee Youth Employment Program, we get to show it to them, and they get to try it out, before they settle in. And now, as we look at AI changing things and quantum physics changing things, ladies and gentlemen, degrees in, how do I say this without getting in trouble?
IT.
Degrees in,
Just say it.
I'm still searching for the right way to say this. Degrees in liberal arts is not going to do those students any good, because things have changed. They're not going to change. They have changed, right? And so our colleges and universities have to rethink the disciplines that they are offering our kids now, and not just make money off of our kids, right? Yes.
So along the same lines, there's support from the Pencil Foundation, metro schools, K through 12 in the state, even pre-K and early learning. What are the types of engagements that you guys currently do with, let's say, 18 and younger youth?
I'm sorry, what was the age?
18 and then younger.
Uh-huh.
And maybe what are some things that you envision adding to that, or even going into classrooms? Like, what are the current engagements and maybe some daydreams that you have about youth engagement?
Yeah, so we have a youth leadership program that we run every year for boys and girls. I had to fight for the girls, because I had a bunch of boy moms and stuff. They only wanted to work with boys. But we do leadership programs starting for kids in the 7th grade through the 12th grade, and we work with them every year that they come into the program. And now we've had some that have graduated and gone on to college, and now they've come back and they've created a curriculum for college students as well, because when they got to college, they realized they didn't know how to cook a meal. They realized they didn't know how to wash clothes, or they didn't know how to change a tire, right? True story. My daughter went to college and met this boy, and my daughter had a flat tire, and he changed the tire and threw the tire and the rim in the ditch. And I went back and I was like, he is not the one. But we get those kids in the 7th grade and we walk with them all the way through the 12th grade. And in the morning, it is all about scholastic achievement. And then in the afternoon, we take them out to businesses and we pull back the curtains and we show the kids what those businesses have to offer as far as careers is concerned. Like, kids had no clue that Bridgestone have rubber tree farms in Japan, or that they had a golf ball division, right? And then some of the kids got to go to Daytona 500 and go into the pit crew and learn about that aspect, you know, of automobile, you know, racing and what have you and stuff. So we do things like that, you know, for our youth. Yeah.
So in addition to African Americans, does the Urban League also look at Hispanics or Latinos?
Yes. So I'm happy to say, well, we serve all people groups, first and foremost. 35% of the people of that 10,000 people we served last year were white. 15% were Asians, and 20% were what's the other group? Other, which would be
Other, right,
which
everyone
would be
else.
our Kurdish community, because
Right.
we have a large Kurdish population here. In fact, we have the largest Kurdish population behind Kurdistan, because so many of the Kurds now moved here,
Right.
to Nashville. So we reach out to all groups. Yeah. Good question. Most people think we just serve African Americans. Not true. We serve everybody.
Go ahead.
Yes.
So I work for a recovery community. We're transitional housing, for substance abuse.
Mhm.
And we work, probably 90% of our residents are court ordered, I mean, out of incarceration, you know, they have nothing, they're like jail bags, so we do IDs and bus passes and clothing and all that. So how would I plug an adult in with these services? Like, what would that look like?
So, that's a good question. So we're getting ready to, I'm in the process of planning for our National Urban League Conference, where we get to host here in Nashville. We're expecting 10,000 people, and on August the 1st, we're having a large community day, one stop, one shop. And so we would love to talk to you about plugging into that, because we're gonna have the largest court and expungement clinic and all that day as well as healthcare services, as well as college fairs, job fairs. We do some dynamite job fairs and stuff.
Yeah, we need that.
And coming soon, you will see a bus that we have wrapped in logos and stuff for the Urban League, rolling on the streets, thanks to our contract with WeGo. And then we're also in the process of talking to some of our prison systems to get behind the walls 6 to 8 months before people are released, so that we can prepare them for when they get out, they have jobs, housing, transportation. And when we do those things, we're finding out that the recidivism rate begins to go down. And we're partnering also with Belmont. Belmont has an educational program where people can get their degrees while they're behind the wall. And the recidivism rate has dropped from as much as 55% down to 2%.
And just to add to that, to President Harris's point, we have expungement clinics all throughout the year.
Yeah.
Job fairs all throughout the year. The August 1st will be a much larger event, but you can always, huge. But you can always visit ulmt.org just to check up on when those expungement clinics or those job fairs will be happening, because we have them throughout the year.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, can you speak about the empowerment center that's going to be at 808 Skyline Ridge?
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of working with Ms. Van Rees on a project at Skyline. And so we have an empowerment center right there in the complex. And we are hosting everything from Girl Scout meetings, Boy Scout meetings. We're doing financial planning seminars. We're doing wheels. We're doing FAFSA applications. We're doing all kind of things to help the residents right there in their own backyard. And thanks to the partnership, that we had, we were able to build out a empowerment center to be on the ground, boots on the ground, and you'll begin to see more of those. Anybody seen the facility at Park 24 where the buffaloes roam? The buffaloes.
Yeah, the buffaloes.
So that big facility, we had an equity stake in that, and we'll have an empowerment center there as well. Right. And the reason for the empowerment center is this, and you all can appreciate this. I asked my staff, why are you sitting in here waiting for people to come to you? Why aren't you out there going where they where they are. That's what drug dealers do. They don't wait for people to come to them. They get out in the streets and go to people. Well, we got to get out in the streets and go to people too. So that is who we are. That's what we do. And the other secret sauce of, you know, I have to admit, is I just wake up every morning and ask the Holy Spirit, how can I help you today?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. That's good. Good luck. Anyone else? Everybody ready to become a member of the Urban League?